Welcome to Ramblin' Rose, Texas Gardens. My name is Rose, and I am a senior citizen living in DFW, Texas. I've been here for 6 years. I moved from Ohio when I was 62. You do the math, that was 6 years ago. And my passions are growing things. I love to garden. And I also make soap. I have another channel called Ramblin' Rose Soaps. And I used to add my gardening to that one, but this year in 2026, I want to separate them out and have two different channels. So this is my second channel, and I've decided to call it Ramblin' Rose Texas Garden. And I thought I would just take you along on my gardening journey here in Texas. I started my gardening passion, well actually I started gardening when I was in my early 30s as a homeowner, and I would just plant flowers. I would go to the local nursery in Ohio and buy whatever pretty things I liked, and then I would dig a hole in the ground and I would plant them. And that was pretty much the extent of my gardening expertise for many, many years. Back when I was in my mid-50s, I want to say 2013, 2014, somewhere around there, I decided that I wanted to go a little deeper into gardening. I owned a townhouse with a 25 by 25 stone patio and a very, very, very small yard in the front, and a very even smaller yard in the back. And I decided I wanted to grow vegetables. So what I did, and if I can find some pictures, I'll insert them here. What I did was I turned my stone patio into my garden area. Every single part of it was filled with pots. I did all of my gardening in containers, and I grew things like tomatoes, zucchini, peppers, green beans, strawberries, some cantaloupe, a lot of herbs, and did I say tomatoes? I grew tomatoes, and I just tried to grow as much as I could in planters. Back in 2019, I sold my home in Ohio and I moved to Texas where my daughter lives. And I chose a property that specifically that had lots of land so that I could grow gardens in there and raise chickens, which is what I do right now. I have a third of an acre land, and I grow my garden in raised beds. And so I just wanted to take you along on my journey of gardening as a senior citizen in Texas, all of the ups and the downs and the failures and the successes. And so 2026 is my year to start that. What better way than to start in the beginning of the year? Actually, today is December 28th, and I'm taking you along a little bit early, but this won't post until after the new year. And right now what I'm doing is I'm going to be starting my indoor seeding for my 2026 spring garden, and we're going to start with peppers. And I love peppers. I love sweet peppers, and we're going to grow 6 different kinds this year. The first one's going to be orange. Actually, it's called Coral Bell. They're an orange pepper. These are seeds that I have saved from last year's garden, and they're in a package here. And they're just a pretty bright coral color. I'm going to grow these. They're a bell pepper. And then I'm going to grow a California Wonder, which is a giant red pepper. Everybody knows that pepper. And then we're going to try, this one's a new one for me, Purple Beauty. These all came from Baker Creek. And it is a purple colored bell. Looks like on the small side. And that's also a bell, which is a sweet pepper. And I've grown these before. This is an albino bullnose, and they're a white pepper, very, very sweet. I really enjoy these peppers. The next one is Canary Yellow, and it's a bell pepper also. As you can tell, I love bell peppers. And the last pepper I'm going to grow is not a bell pepper, it's a poblano. I love poblano peppers. I'm not much for hot peppers, but this one has a little bit of heat to it, not a lot, and I love to cook with it. So those are the 6 peppers that I'm going to grow, and I thought I'd take you along while I plant the seeds today. So let me switch you around here so you can watch me plant my seeds. Okay, I've got you situated so that you can watch me do this. I've already filled this tray with potting mix. This is sterile potting mix, and it doesn't have any nutrients in it. It's just to start the seeds. I'll have to pot them up once they get to a certain height into some potting soil. But this is just a potting mix, or a seed starting mix is what this is. And I forgot something. I will be right back. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. I wanted to get some of my tags for my different seeds that I'm going to plant. I use old repurposed mini blinds that I cut up that are broken. I just cut them to size and then write on them with a Sharpie the name of the seed and when I planted them. Okay, we're going to start with poblano peppers first. And what I normally do is I'll just take and I'm going to put 2 in each one of these just in case one seed does not come up. And I'm just going to put a little hole, a little divot in there for each seed with a skewer, just so I have a start. And we're going to do this all the way up the line here. I always do 2 in each hole, just in case one doesn't come up, one doesn't germinate. You don't want to go too far in, maybe a 1/4 of an inch at the most. Depends on your seed. These seeds are small, so you don't need to go too far in. And these are the seeds for the poblano peppers. As you can see, they are small. And then I just drop 1 and 2 into each hole. And then, I got just enough of those. I'm going to cover them up lightly with the soil. Push that one down in there a little bit. And cover them all up. You don't want to get them too far down in or they won't find their way up after they've germinated. It'll be hard for them to push up out of the ground. And we've got them all in there. And then we're going to take our label that I made and we're going to just stick it at the end here, just like that, so I know what's growing in that row. And then we're going to keep going with the next one. And while I'm doing that, I'll just kind of chat as to what I'd like to do, my hopes for this channel, and how I'd like to do this channel. Right now we're going to do the canary bell. Anyway, as I said before, I have been gardening, seriously gardening, avidly gardening since 2015, growing vegetables, herbs, and flowers. A lot longer, since in my mid-30s did I start, but I kind of started just lackadaisical. Now I go ahead and my garden is my life. Whenever I need peace, whenever I'm stressed, whenever I have a problem, I go to my garden and I do whatever I can. I either just pull weeds, or I water it, or I harvest, or I just sit and stare at it. I'm not a deeply religious person. I would call myself spiritual more than religious. But it is where I go to talk to God, or whatever I consider God. Whenever I have a problem, I like to go to my garden and just think about it, and answers usually come to me as to what I should do. And we're going to plant these canary yellows. And as far as what my hopes are for this gardening channel is, I'd just like to take you along. We're going to start with just starting the seeds. I start seeds every year. Your pepper seeds need to grow the longest, so I always start those right after Christmas to get them a good start. And then after that, I follow up with other vegetables, flowers, and herbs. I'm thinking about growing tomatoes this year. I don't normally grow tomatoes because I have acid reflux and I really can't handle the acidity. But I'm kind of working on that, my health right now, and taking care of that. So I think I'm going to try growing some tomatoes. They'll probably be on the yellow or pink side rather than deep reds, although I would like to do some paste tomatoes and make some sauce. But I might try tomatoes. Those don't need as long as the bell peppers do to grow. I'll probably start those in a couple weeks. I don't want to give them too much of a chance to get too leggy and too big. Our growing season goes from mid-March to November. And I usually plant my garden, plant it outside in the ground, the first week in April. That way it gives it plenty of time for the soil to warm up and for any bad weather that might come in, any last minute freezes. I like to wait until then. I probably won't plant my peppers until the second week of April because they are more fussy. They don't like weather below 50 degrees. They are very, very frost tender. And so you want to give them the best start that you can. So now I've got all of my canary bell peppers. I'm going to give these each a pat here just to make sure everything's in there. And then we'll make another label for the canary. It says Canary Bell and the date that I planted those. So we now have our poblanos and our canary bells. The next one I'm going to plant is the albino bullnose. Now I've lost track of what I was saying. That's normal for me. I'm not a real chatty person either. When I do my soaking videos, I'm busy doing the soap, and I do talk a little bit, but not a lot. But for this one, I thought we'd do some chatting because this is my first one for my new channel, and I kind of wanted to tell you what I wanted to do. And so, let's get these going here. And we'll punch our holes in there. I also grow, and I'll be direct sowing quite a bit, but I do start some of my flowers and my herbs indoors. But I grow loofah gourd, which I use in my soap business. I dry them and cut them up and make some sponges out of those. That's a big crop for me. And then another crop that I use for my soap business is calendula, which is a flower slash herb. It's a bright yellow one. If I get a chance when I'm editing this, I'll put a picture up there in the screen of what calendula looks like. It's very easy to grow, and it tolerates cool weather well. I can grow it almost all season. It doesn't like the heat of Texas, so as long as I keep it watered, I can keep it alive in the hot months, but it doesn't usually flower as well in the hot months. I just kind of try to keep it going. And then in the fall and the spring is when it really goes crazy. In fact, I currently have, we've had a warm winter so far. I currently have calendula growing in my garden right now, still blooming. Tonight, we're going to have a cold front, and tomorrow it's going to get cold. It's going to be in the 30s and the 40s. That might nip the calendula, but it won't completely kill it. But we may get in the 20s the next day in the nighttime, and that may take care of that calendula for the year. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I grow that, and then I dry the flowers, and I add them, infuse them in oil, and then put the oil in. I make a balm, or well, it's a balm, yes. It's a salve. I make a salve that is very good for boo-boos, scratches, bug bites, burns, sunburn. It's really nice for a sunburn. It's good for dry skin. I use it on my elbows, and it's also good for the dry issues that you get in the wintertime. I get spots on my back where it itches, and if I put a little bit of that salve on there, it just completely takes the itch out right away. Okay, so now we have the bullnose, albino bullnose, and I'm going to make a tag for that. The next one we're going to plant is the Purple Beauty. And a couple years ago, I tried growing a purple bell. I don't remember what it was called. It could have been a Purple Beauty, I don't know. But everybody was having problems with all the seed suppliers were having problems with their grower that grew the seeds, mislabeled them, and it wasn't a purple bell. I can tell you for sure it was not a purple bell. It was some kind of very hot, like a wax, Hungarian wax pepper, and it was extremely hot. I knew as soon as it started growing the peppers that it wasn't a bell because it was long and elongated, not like a round, bulbous bell pepper is. More like a hot pepper. And I tried it once just to see, because somebody told me it was a banana pepper. And I thought, well, I can handle those. And so I bit into it, and I thought I was going to die. Like I said, I don't like hot peppers. I can't do spicy very well. And I thought I had bit into the heat of 1,000 suns. Well, needless to say, that plant, or plants, I had grown 5 of those that year, were pulled out immediately because I could not handle eating them, And if I'm not going to be able to eat the harvest, I don't want to grow it, and I don't want to waste the space. A lot of people said, oh, you shouldn't do that. You should go ahead and don't pull the plant out, go ahead and let it grow, and then you can give the food to your neighbors. But it's my garden, and I make the choices that I want to make. And I can't remember if I put one in there or not. I don't think I did. We got one last one here. And so I pulled those out and I planted something else instead. It was too late to plant another pepper, but so wish me luck that these purple beauties turn out to be actually purple beauty peppers. And let's kind of bury those. I just kind of ruffle up the dirt and smush it in there, just so that they're covered. And then we'll put a label for that. That was the Purple Beauties. I get most of my seeds from either Baker Creek or I also like M.I. Gardner seeds. And then there's Botanical Interests. I do like their seeds also quite a bit. And sometimes I will purchase seeds from independent sellers on Etsy. I have hit or miss luck with that. The next seed we're going to plant is the California Wonder. Sometimes those sellers have good seeds and sometimes they're not. It just depends. And I have had some mixed results, some success, some not. But I'll continue to support Etsy because I have a shop for Etsy also. And the sellers are independent of Etsy, the business. I mean, they pay to have their shop listed there, and it's a platform for the independent seller. And so I'd like to support those sellers quite a bit because I am one of them also. So I will support them when I can. Back to what I expect to do on this channel. I am going to start out slow and post one video every 2 weeks. I'm going to make a commitment to do that. The videos may not be very long, they may be long, it all depends, but I'm doing this in addition to my other YouTube channel, which I'm also committing to do one video every 2 weeks. And I still work a part-time job. I'm not completely retired. And I operate Ramblin' Rose Soaps, which is my soap business. So it keeps me busy. I also have chickens. Well, I have currently one chicken. But maintaining a garden and working part-time. I work 20 hours a week at my old job that I've had for 15 years. And then running a soap business, making soaps and different kind of products. And then YouTube is a lot. It keeps me very, very busy. So I am going to commit to 2 videos for this channel per week to start, and we'll see how it goes. Last one is the coral bells, which I have grown before, and these are seeds that I have saved from my own garden from last year. You want to choose your very best, biggest, and healthiest piece of whatever you want to save the seeds from. So let's just say it's the bell pepper. I choose the one that is the healthiest, the biggest, and strongest one, so that it gives me a better seed for me to grow healthy new seeds with. I love saving seeds. That's one of my favorite things to do every year. So we will do a video on how to save seeds, when to save certain seeds, and what you need to do to save seeds, that sort of thing. I really enjoy saving seeds quite a bit. It saves money. You don't have to buy as many seeds from the... I do enjoy buying seeds. I do it every year. I say I'm not going to, and then I place an order for seeds. I just placed an order yesterday for some seeds. That looks like a seed. I don't know which one it is. We'll just leave it down there because I don't know. And we're going to bury these. Uh-oh. I didn't do a California Wonder, and I didn't do that label. See, I got myself all confused. So we'll do the California Wonder, which is right here. Sorting my seeds in these, so now I'm going to get a heat mat, fill this up with water, get a heat mat, set it up on the shelf, and then we'll come back and show you where I'm going to set it up so that you can see that. And then we'll be finished. I'll be right back. Okay, we have it sitting. Well, I need to turn these around here so that I can see my labels. There we go. We have it on the heat mat, and it's on a shelf. And we have lighting system here for it, which I'm not going to turn on just yet because it doesn't need light at this point. But this is for growing all of my seedlings indoors. And when we get to that point, I will show you all of my plants under the lights. But everything is all set up. I have started my very first seeds for 2026. And I want to thank you for joining me, and subscribe. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you can get notified of any new videos that are coming up. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the new year.